Hi, Mark here. It is Friday, January the 30th, just after 8 a.m. Eastern. That's just after 1 p.m. GMT. US session now underway. Let's have a look how the market's performing. Starting on the dollar index, you see the US dollar trying to fight its way back again. We've seen this the past 3 days following the very sharp and steep sell-off that we saw last week and in the early part of this week. Wednesday, we had a bounce up, wasn't able to maintain today. Wednesday we had the bounce up. Thursday wasn't able to maintain, and sellers controlled day again. Today, buyers trying again. I've got support at 96.16. I've got resistance a little higher than yesterday at 96.63. That's a higher high and a higher low. We'll see if buyers can maintain this fight back. Not really much of a bounce to talk of yet. Buyers will look to get above, break above this 96.60, look up at the 97. Sellers, of course, will be looking to continue what we've seen, the strong sell-off and the downtrend, and look down at support sitting at 95, 92. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. Yesterday, we saw a strong sell-off, wasn't able to maintain. Buyers did step in, and you see the big wick left behind you on the daily candlestick. Today, a big sell-off again. That's in the futures market. Still an hour and a half till Wall Street opens up. Buyers did step in the futures market. So from support at 6,915 all the way back up now to 6,966. Buyers will look up at the resistance, 6,989, and look back up at the $7,000 level or higher. But buyers have stepped in during the futures market and looking to recoup the losses from earlier in the futures market. Gold, metals, the big news of the day. We saw a strong sell-off yesterday, but buyers did step in gold. We've seen that same sell-off today, and we'll see whether buyers do see this level as a buying opportunity around the 5,000 level, or if we see sellers continue what we've seen earlier during the Asian European session and profit taking continue. Price now 5,080. I've got support 4,945 below that 5,000 level. I've got resistance all the way up at 5,458. And this big sell-off in gold, something we haven't seen for a while. Yesterday, kind of took us by surprise, but buyers did step in. We'll see if that's the same today. Could well take its cue from the performance of the US dollar. And by the way, silver also being sold off to even a larger extent than we see gold today. Let's have a look at Brent oil. Brent oil sold off earlier, but certainly fighting back again. Uptrend well intact. I've got support at $67.81. I've got resistance at $69.74. There was the early sell-off. Buyers have stepped in. You see the wick at the bottom of the candlestick. Buyers will be looking up at this resistance level and looking back up at the $70 or higher. Sellers, of course, will look to step in around this level here, around the resistance like they've done earlier, and look back down below $69. But certainly for now, going into the US session, we can see that buyers have recouped the early losses and looking back up at the resistance level. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Strong sell-off yesterday, all the way down from just under 90,000 yesterday. We saw Bitcoin drop to 83,000, fight back a little bit, but today sellers continuing what they started yesterday. I've got resistance at 84.6 thousand. I've got support at 80.8 thousand. Small wick we see at the bottom of the candlestick. That's buyers stepping in at the 80,000 area. We'll see whether that can continue. Buyers can continue to erase these losses, get back up at least to the resistance level at 84.6 thousand, or if sellers continue what we saw yesterday and earlier today and look back down at testing this 80,000 level. But certainly a strong sell-off in Bitcoin, something we haven't seen for a while, and bias, trend, and sentiment all pointing lower going into the US session. Good trading. Keep that discipline, and I will see you at end of day session.